I can't believe that Diabotical played a fast one on us, skipped open beta, and went straight to launch. So if you're playing it now, you probably have a feel for the weapons, but there are 3 weapons you need to focus on. And that is the Holy Trinity: rockets, pincer, and shaft. Hey, welcome back. My name is Image Omega, and I do have to tell you guys, first and foremost, I am so humbled. I truly appreciate all the support that everybody gave me on my last Diabotical video, my first Diabotical video. And you know, I made this decision in my head like, hey, I need to go ahead and put out another one right away because my goal with all of this is to help the community grow. So let's talk about it. So in Diabotical, there are 3 weapons that really kind of run the gamut of what you want to use the majority of the time. Now you have the rocket launcher, the pincer, also known as the point and click rifle, and then the shaft, in other games referred to as the lightning gun. Now all 3 of these weapons, they serve specific ranges. The rocket launcher is going to be your up close, in your face type of weapon. Now can you use it at long range? Absolutely. Yeah, you can use any of these weapons really at most ranges, but really the rocket launcher is going to serve you best at that medium to really close up range. I mean, so close that you could practically rocket jump off people's faces. That's the best way to crack some eggs. Now, what I want to do is dive into the specifics of every single one of these weapons so you know exactly what to expect and how to utilize them to the best of your ability. Let's start with what I've already been talking about, the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher works like this. You shoot someone in the face with a rocket, you deal 100 damage straight up. Now, if you miss them, well, you're either going to do 0 damage, or depending on how close the splash is of the rocket exploding, you may do some damage off that. That, as simple as it sounds, is called splash damage. Splash damage is really going to be your best friend when it comes to rockets. If all you do is aim at the person's face, you're probably going to miss the majority of your rockets, especially as a new player. Now, are there people out there that make it look easy when they shoot direct rockets? Yeah. Absolutely. You know, those rockets that hit the person flying through the air, those are probably like the best highlights in all of Diabotical. However, you don't start there. You start by learning how to lead your target with the rockets, and then once you kind of have a good feel for that, then you can start trying to work your way towards more direct rockets. But even the best of players, when they're shooting rockets, they're typically, again, at that medium to very close range, and they're aiming at the person's feet. Now, in Diabotical, as it stands right now, every single one of the egg bots has this little glowing ring underneath them, and their feet don't touch the ground. Now the developers have said in the future they are working on maybe having the egg bots have their feet touch the ground, so we might get some running animations later, but right now we see this little glowing ring. Here's the thing. Since their feet don't touch the ground, you do not want to aim where their feet were. Does that make sense? So let's say if they're strafing or moving sideways in one direction, their feet are going to be kind of trailing behind them. You don't want to aim there. And of course, you know, we're already talking about leading the person, so you might be already be saying to yourself, yeah, I need to shoot in front of their feet. But there's an easier way to do this. It's that ring, that glowing ring that's underneath the egg bot. Shoot at that. If you concentrate all your shots at that glowing ring, you're probably going to up the percentage of damage and percentage of shots that you're actually hitting right off the bat. And in a nutshell, that's really what I want you guys to worry about and focus on with the rocket launcher right at the start. If I give you too many things to think about, you're going to go into what it's called analysis paralysis, and you're not going to know where to start. So just start with, hey, let's hit that splash damage. Let's aim for that little ring. And even after talking to a lot of the old school players that have been playing Quake 3 or Quake 2 or whatever for years, they found that shooting at that little ring dramatically increased the accuracy of their rockets. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us, right? Let's move on to the pincer. The pincer is PNCR, and it really stands for the point and click rifle. In other games, you might hear it referred to as the railgun. It really operates the same way as far as you put the crosshair on what you want to shoot, you click your mouse button, and bang, a beam shoots across and nails the person. Now, in some games, you shoot that rail and it does a consistent amount of damage across the board. In fact, in Quake 2, where the railgun was first introduced, and even in Quake 3, the railgun did 100 damage. So if a person had 100 health and 100 armor, 2 rail shots was going to wipe them out. And you know what? That was okay back in the day because not everybody had this great internet connection and not everybody was, skilled enough to shoot consistently with that railgun. Fast forward to today, and gamers have gotten a lot better, and their internet connections have definitely gotten a lot better too. So we've seen an increase in accuracy of everybody's point and click or railguns. So what has Diabotical done to compensate for everybody's better internet connections and accuracy? Well, pincer damage starts at 70 for the first shot. If you hit another shot in a row, that means 2 shots without missing, the damage goes up to 75. That's a 5-point of damage increase. If you hit a third shot consecutively, it goes up to 80, then 85, 90, to what I believe is a cap of 100. But now, where do you want to be when you're firing this railgun? Well, truthfully, you want to be at that medium to long range distance because that rail is going to travel completely across the map. So if you see someone completely long range, don't try to lead them with a rocket from that far away. Your shaft won't even reach them, so the railgun is the obvious choice. And on top of it all, Diabotical does have a zoom feature, so even when you are at that further range, you can zoom in. I think by default, it's the mouse 2 or right click button, so you can zoom in and take your shots that way. So pretty straightforward with the railgun, right? You want to use it from farther away distances because if you are fighting somebody at a closer range and you miss a shot, it's punishing. Not only does your damage reset if you are hitting shots consecutively, but then also there's this delay in between every single shot. You will not out damage someone that has a rocket launcher, a shotgun to your face, sometimes even a machine gun depending on how much health and armor you already have. So what's the answer to this? Well, one, it could be don't miss, but the other answer really becomes that medium range weapon, and that's the shaft. The shaft in other games is often referred to as the lightning gun because it shoots a beam of what looks like to be electricity or lightning. And in a game like Quake 3 or Diabotical, the shaft has a bad rep because it's strong. Not only is it strong, but it also pushes people back, pushes them away from you, keeps them at that medium range. The con about the lightning gun is that it does have a fixed distance from which it can actually make contact with enemies. It means if they're super far away, you're not even going to be able to reach them. However, in Diabotical, as it stands right now, the shaft does have a very, very long range. So at most medium to almost a little bit longer than medium ranges, you are going to be able to hit them. At close range, because the enemy is going to be moving all the way around you, it's going to be way tougher to keep your crosshair on them, otherwise known as tracking. And just doing that while they're fighting you, it's way easier said than done. But I think I'm making the shaft sound bad already. Let's be honest, it is probably the most powerful gun in the game. When I play a mode like Wipeout, I almost always have that weapon out. I haven't crunched the numbers, somebody way smarter than me can do that. All I know is it does 6 damage a tick, and if this is a mode other than Wipeout, I'm pretty much guaranteed to kill most of my opponents way before I run out of ammo. There's a lot of games out there that require you to be able to track your target, and I'm going to tell you that having a good shaft means that you will be able to do that in other games, like for instance, Call of Duty. Pulling out a submachine gun and mowing down your enemies in Call of Duty is essentially the same idea as tracking someone with the shaft in Diabotical. So getting good with that weapon in Diabotical, you're only doing yourself a favor if you still play other games. The only difference with the submachine gun in Call of Duty is you're not going to see that beam kind of lasering at your enemy. You're just going to end up killing them really fast because your tracking is getting so good. Now, getting better with these weapons. There are 2 schools of thought here. Like one, it's work on them one at a time. Diabotical has an aim trainer built in, which is absolutely phenomenal. And that is going to teach you the fundamentals of aiming each of these weapons. However, when the pressure's on and there's a scoreboard to check and you're worried about the other person killing you first, things do tend to change a little bit. So, first school of thought, again, we're still working on one weapon at a time. Go into warm-up and think maybe just rocket launcher. And since this is warm-up, you have the rocket launcher when you spawn, so all you need to do is figure out how you can find someone, close the distance, and start shooting that circle beneath their egg. Then once you start feeling good about the rocket launcher, switch, go to a new weapon, or maybe somewhere in the middle of the round you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go lightning gun only. Think of it like a trial and error phase. You're learning, it's okay, you're going to die, you're going to get fragged. It's no big deal, especially in warm up, because the big picture is you're getting better at this individual weapon, especially one that is as powerful as the shaft. And then finally, you can work on the railgun. You can figure out how can you hang back? How can you stop someone from engaging you? This is actually going to help your positioning as well, which is a whole other topic, but just learning how to stay away from someone and shoot your railgun effectively without feeling that pressure of them, just shooting you in the face or just bearing down on you, that is a whole other little meta game in itself. And remember how we talked about the shaft improving your aim for other games? Well, got news for you, the railgun's gonna do that same idea. If you like sniping, well, you're gonna have to have good crosshair placement. Your accuracy is absolutely key. If you have great accuracy with the pincer and Diabotical, there's a good chance that your accuracy in other games will be up there as well. But don't just take it from me. Try it out. Play a little bit of the pincer and Diabotical. There's even a mode called Instagib where it's nothing but railguns, so you can just have fun just shooting everybody else around you, and before you know it, you're probably going to have this amazing pincer aim, and when you go into another game like PUBG, you're just sniping people, and you're like, wow, I guess that did help my aim. Finally, second school of thought to really get better at these weapons is figuring out when to use which weapon. When is the perfect time for each of these weapons? And in order to do that, you're going to have to take yourself through all the ranges. If you see an egg bot from far away, start off with that pincer and try to get a shot off or two. And as you're doing that, think, I need to close the gap, because you want to get to that middle or medium range. Then pull out your shaft and see if you can start getting some more damage on them that way. And if you haven't killed them already, then start thinking, all right, if they're closing the distance on me or I close the distance on them, I'm gonna pull out the rocket launcher and try to shoot at their feet or that little ring underneath their egg bot. It really does sound rudimentary when I describe it like that, but a lot of people do this, and this is how a lot of people end up getting the frags that they do, because they take advantage of the weapon that's going to be utilized the best in that situation or that engagement. Now, are some people stubborn and just decide to keep railing? Yeah, absolutely, and it's because they really do trust their pincer aim, or they really do trust their shaft. Okay, alright, I think I've said way too much already, and I really don't want to make this idea of these three weapons seem overwhelming. It's going to take practice. You're going to have to get a feel of the speed of the rockets. You're going to have to get a feel for where you should be shooting to do damage to the person. Like maybe there's a wall behind them and you're shooting at that wall behind them to create that splash damage. Little things like that go a long way. And then just the accuracy of the shaft and the railgun. Even the greatest of players are still trying to constantly improve their shaft and railgun, so don't be discouraged if you feel like you're just failing every time you pull one of those weapons out. Like I said, when it comes to building up your skills, I'm a big believer in keeping things simple to start. Hey, we all started somewhere, and I always love the martial arts belt analogy when it comes to any sort of skill. You really have to think of yourself as maybe a white belt or a yellow belt right now, and your goal is going to be to build yourself up until you do ultimately reach that black belt. We're going to call this video series EGG CRACKIN 101. What does that mean? That means I'm going to put out more videos to help you get better at the game and to continue to build up this great community. Again, you guys, I really want to show my gratitude because the outpouring of positivity and support that you guys gave me was absolutely mind-blowing, and I really am humbled and appreciative of all of you guys being here, leaving a comment, checking it out, leaving a like. Like I said before, that does so much and it means so much to a growing YouTuber like myself. Again, you guys, my name is Image Omega. You can find me on Twitter, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.